Good morning. Welcome back to the one and only Ivan. We left off when Ivan had described his domain. And now we're at the chapter, and they're short chapters, so I read a few. This one is called Gone. And let's see what that is about. We are lousy hunters is how he described humans. So, gone. Some animals live privately, unwatched, but that is not my life. My life is flashing lights and pointing fingers and uninvited visitors. Inches away, humans flatten their little hands against the wall of glass that separates us. The glass says, you are this, and we are that, and that is how it will always be. Humans leave their fingerprints behind, sticky with candy, slick with sweat. Every night a weary man comes to wipe them away. Sometimes I press my nose against the glass. My nose print, like your fingerprint, is the first and last and only one. The man wipes the glass, and then I'm gone. Artists. Here in my domain, I do not have much to do. You can only throw so many meatballs at humans before you get bored. A meatball is made by rolling up dung until it's the size of a small apple and then letting it dry. I always keep a few on hand. For some reason, my visitors never seem to carry any. In my domain, I have a tire swing, a baseball, a tiny plastic pool filled with dirty water, and even an old TV. I have my stuffed toy gorilla, too. Julia, the daughter of the weary man who cleans them all each night, gave it to me. The gorilla has empty eyes and floppy limbs, but I sleep with it every night. I call it not Tag. Oh, this is so sad. Tag was my twin sister's name. Julia is 10 years old. She has hair like black glass and a wide half-moon smile. She and I have a lot in common. We are both great apes, and we are both artists. It was Julia who gave me my first crayon, a stubby blue one. She slipped through the broken spot in my glass. Oh, that was clever. Along with a folded piece of paper. I knew what to do with it. I'd watch Julia draw. When I dragged the crayon across the paper, it left a trail in its wake like a slithering blue snake. Julia's drawings are wild with color and movement. She draws things that aren't real, clouds that smile and cars that swim. She draws until her crayons break and her paper rips. Her papers are like pieces of a dream. I can't draw dreamy pictures. I never remember my dreams, although I sometimes awaken with my fists clenched and my heart hammering. My drawing seems pale and timid next to Julia's. She draws the ideas in her hand. I draw things in my cage, simple items that fill my day. An apple core, a banana peel, a candy wrapper. I often eat my subjects before I draw them. But even though I draw the same things over and over again, I never get bored with my art. When I'm drawing, that's all I think about. I don't think about where I am, about yesterday or tomorrow. I just move my crayons across the paper. Humans don't always seem to recognize what I've drawn. They squint and cock their heads, murmur. I'll draw a banana, a perfectly lovely banana, and they'll say, it's a yellow airplane, or it's a duck without wings. That's all right. I'm not drawing for them. I'm drawing for me. Max soon realized that people will pay for a picture made by a gorilla, even if they don't know what it is. Now I draw every day. My work sells for $20 a piece, $25 with a frame at the gift shop near my domain. If I get tired and need a break, I eat my crayons. Shapes and clouds. I've always been an artist. Even as a baby, still clinging to my mother, I had an artist's eye. I saw shapes in the clouds and sculptures in the tumbled stones at the bottom of a stream. I grabbed at colors, the crimson flowers just out of reach, the ebony birds streaking past. I don't remember much about my early life, but I do remember this. Whenever I got the chance, I would dip my fingers in cool mud and use my mother's back for a canvas. She was a patient soul, my mother. Imagination. Someday I hope I can draw the way Julia draws, imagining worlds that don't exist. I know what most humans think. They think gorillas don't have imaginations. They think we don't remember our past or ponder our future. Come to think of it, I suppose they have a point. Mostly I think about what is, not what could be. I've learned not to get my hopes up. The loneliest gorilla in the world. When the Big Top Mall was first built, it smelled of new paint and fresh hay, and humans came to visit from morning till night. They drifted past my domain like logs on a lazy river. Lately, a day might go by without a single visitor. Max says he's worried. He says I'm not cute anymore. He says, Ivan, you've lost your magic touch, old guy. You used to be a hit. It's true, some of my visitors don't linger the way they used to. They stare through the glass. They cluck their tongues. They frown when I watch TV. He looks lonely, they say. Not long ago, a little boy stood before my glass, tears streaking down his smooth cheeks. He must be the loneliest gorilla in the world, he said, clutching his mother's hand. At times, I wish humans could understand me the way I understand them. It's not so bad, I wanted to tell the little boy. With enough time, you can get used to almost anything. And that's where we will leave it. Finishing up let's read a little bit more. My visitors are often surprised when they see the TV Mac put in my domain. They seem to find it odd, the sight of a gorilla staring at tiny humans in a box. Sometimes I wonder, though, isn't it the way they stare at me, sitting in my tiny box, just as strange? And that's where we will leave it. Until next time, that was the loneliest gorilla in the world.